Academy. So we did a lot of product training, skills development, and a lot of things regarding digitalization. So prevention in the case, so we can try to plan and organize on to train employees and implement mandatory practices against the COVID-19 spread. So put masks, try to use the safety place and safety products as well. So we can see that the workplace compliance of prevention is part of our Here you can see that the map regarding the spreading of the COVID in all over the world. So you can see that together we shall overcome. You can see that actually we have more than 1 billion cases all over the world. The most impacted countries, you can see it's USA now. Then we can see some countries in Europe like Italy, France, Spain, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium. But for Ukraine, we can see that the impact is, the situation is not bad like other European countries. So it's more around 2,000 to 3,000 cases, and maybe around 200 death cases. So this situation, I think, is under control in Ukraine now. So what can we do to protect ourselves and try to put masks, try to stop the spread? Let's do our bit, and starting with the basic. So now let me introduce to our attendees our Znshine Solar Group. Maybe our partners Tatiana and Natalia, after, if our attendees have some questions in Ukrainian, you can answer them, please. Because as you know, the presentation is in English. So if they have any questions, we can answer. So Znshine is one of the, we have a really very great history. So we are one of the oldest company worldwide. We have more than 32 years experience. We have started with LED products, then we entered into the solar market in 2007. So compared to others, we have more than 30 years, like for example, compared to Genco, J Solar and others. So we can see that we are the oldest one. So, and then we are dealing with 3 business units, so EPC, models, and solar storage. EPC, we did more than 1 gigawatt project worldwide, mainly in Japan, Indonesia, and some other countries in Asia. Also, we have around 5 gigawatt full automated manufacturing machines. So, and actually, we added a new facility in China, is around 600 megawatt in China. So maybe by end of this year, we'll have around 5.6 gigawatt, and we target to ship more than 4 gigawatts this year. Since last year, we have shipped around 3 gigawatts. So we target to have 1 gigawatt as additional shipments. So here we will enter onto the storage system field this year as well, and our research and development department is working on it and try to give us the latest technology regarding the storage system. Maybe we will try to share all documents regarding the storage system with our partners after. As you see here, we have the full automated machine, and we have integrated quality control. So we have more than 200 engineers in order to handle all issues regarding quality and everything. We have a mass production yield is more than 99%. So here, and after you can see as I told you, we were top 1 EPC we got the EPC qualification in Japan, and we are the first one to get this EPC qualification. So and we did around 1.3 gigawatt of projects in pipeline in Japan. Here also we can also give you some references in China, in Ukraine, sorry. You know that we have started only last year in Ukraine, and despite that we have started only the last year, we did more than 120 megawatt projects. So here last year, you can see here a lot of references like 19 mega, 12 mega, 9 mega, 5 mega, and also we have 16 mega in progress now. In Ukraine with our Turkish customer. Not only in Ukraine, so we are present in other countries like in Australia, Germany. We have offices in many countries in Asia, Australia, Germany, and other countries. Here you can see we have signed the big contract with a very important company in Dubai, in Middle East. which is DUA, and this contract is around 100 megawatts. Is one of the biggest contracts in this region. You know that DUA is one of the big company in Dubai, in the Middle East, let's say. Our featured solar models. As you know, we have two special technology in Znshine. Let's say that we are developing in Znshine. The first one is graphene coating. So graphene coating is you can see that after Mr. Eric, our technical director, will go through and will give us more details, and we continue with further technical details regarding this option and its advantages. Then the double glass. You can see that the double glass, we offer around let's say 20% of our total capacity for double glass. Double glass, we can see half cut, normal, bifacial. We can offer only double glass, not double glass with transparent back sheet. And we offer MBB, 9BB and 12BB before. And we offer the large cells. It's a new technology. It's 166 and 210. It's regarding the wafer. So, some advantages of our double glass is no micro cracks. You have long lifetime, and also we can give more than 30 years as warranty for this type of products. Here you can see that we are a global bankable panel. We got a lot of so we were audited by third-party inspectors, like DNVGL is one of the top third-party inspectors worldwide. IFS also. We have the insurance, German insurance and Chinese insurance as well, China Re and Unicre as well, and PV Model Bank, and also. You can see here that we got the factory audits and production supervision. It was in Australia. Here we have all required certifications for all our markets, like in Brazil, Japan, Europe, many markets. So even if our customers ask us for any certification, we have all updated certification now. So now, finally, I try to present like maybe we can recommend this type of panels for the ongoing project in Ukraine, money for utility scale projects, which is the half-cut 9BB, which is mostly actually it's the 465. So it's half-style monoperk. We give more than 15 years as a product warranty. We can give a black frame as well, and black or white frame. And also we give a positive tolerance for this type of product. For this type of product is DMVGL. It's one of the top performers for this product. And we can propose the 430 watt as well. And we start to promote the more than our new product, which is 500 plus, starting from September. It's between the 500 plus and 530 watts. So it will be our king product. New king product. So finally, Znshine means fairness and trust. Thank you a lot for your attention. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate. And Tatiana can, yes, if you have any questions, do not hesitate. What is the sound, colleague? Which sound? So in correspondence to with the graphene coating, Mr. Eric Zhang, our technical director, will continue with more technical details. So you can start, Eric.
Hello.
Hi, Eric.
Okay. Hello everyone. I will give you a brief introduction about the graphene coating technology.
Yeah.
Actually, graphene coating module is featured modules of Znshine, and Marion also mentioned. Another is our double glass module. The graphene coating module will have 2% more power generation than will have 2% more power generation than the normal module. And another key point is the self-cleaning. And the graphene coating module also have excellent low light performance. So what is the graphene coating modules? As we know, graphene material is the king of the new materials. And it also has so many advantages, such as thinnest, lightest, and the most flexible, and the strongest. And our technical team just combined the graphene coating with the AIC glass, and then we get the glass with the best performance, such as it will enhance the penetration and self-cleaning. And the most important, our graphene coating also have photocatalytic functional, and it can increase the solar module power, and also will increase the power generation. The graphene coating glass have excellent light transmission, and the highest value can reach to 94%. It is the highest value in the industry. And another advantage of graphene coating, it is hard to accumulate dust. We just do some scan test of the graphene coating and the normal glass. We can see that the graphene coating on the surface, the structure is a semi-closed pore structure, but the structure of normal glass is open pore structure. So some dust will accumulate on the surface of normal glass easily. And another key point is the graphene coating have the better hydrophilic. What is hydrophilic? Actually, when the value of hydrophilic angle is less than 20, we can call the property is hydrophilic. And after test, the graphene coating layer, the hydrophilic angle is 4 to 4.5 degrees. So this value is very small. So the performance also is very good. We just do some comparison with normal glass and graphene coating glass after the rain. We can see that on the surface of graphene coating glass, the rain will follow quickly, and but the rain is not easily to follow on the surface of normal glass. And this is also another comparison of self-cleaning effect. But this evaluation is long-term evaluation. We can see that graphene coating solar panel, the surface is more cleaner than the normal glass. We just do the test till 1 month. From my side, the most important advantage of graphene coating glass is the glass can degrade the organic matter on the surface of glass. As we know, in our PV system, maybe have some how to say, some pollution will drop on the surface of the module, such as the bird dropping. This kind of pollution maybe is very dangerous. It will affect the reliability. It will affect the hotspot. So if we use the graphene coating glass, maybe the organic matter on the surface of the panels will degrade quickly. Actually, the mechanism of the degradation is our graphene coating surface on the base of the UV, UV, and we will have photocatalytic reaction with the organic metals. We also do some tests to show the effect. You can notice on the PowerPoint. Actually, the blue spot, the blue solution. We can see the blue solution is the organic matter. So after the UV treatment, you can see the graphene coating glass. The color is very less. After the test, we can get more color difference on the graphene coating glass. And we also do so many reliability tests for the graphene coating glass, such as humidity test till 1,000 hours, and temperature cycle, and UV and sand resistance, and acid. We do all of this kind of tests in the third-party library. And all of these tests, our result is positive. We can send all the test report to you. We do the test in TUV North, third-party library. And our technical team also do another test on our test field. We tested the working temperature of coating module and graphene coating module. We conclude that the graphene coating modules will have lower working temperature. As we know, if the working temperature is lower, we will get more power generation. And this is the power generation efficiency of graphene coating modules. We also do the comparison test. We can see that the power generation efficiency of graphene coating modules is higher. And we also send 3 samples to the third party test field. This test is started last August, and the time is 1 year. And from the former result, we can see that the result graphene coating will get more power generation. And for in this result, we get 1.1% more power generation. But The test assembly is poly modules. Next step, we also use more power generation test based on the mono curve.
Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And finally, it is the summary of comparison of graphene coating modules and the normal modules. The first one, the graphene coating glass will have the higher transparency. The higher transparency will reach to 94.2%. And the second is graphene coating. It's not easy to accumulate dust. And also have lower working temperature. Because the self-cleaning and self-cleaning properties, so the graphene coating modules also will reduce the operation and the maintenance cost. And after evaluation, we can conclude that the power generation of graphene coating modules will 2% higher. Okay, and the last point, actually, because the first generation of graphene coating modules is double-glass modules, so we have to combine the advantage of double-glass and graphene coating. So we can conclude that if you choose our graphene coating double-glass modules, we will have lower degradation rate. Okay, and the next generation, we also will offer the graphene coating single glass modules. Okay, that's all. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much for the presentation. So we can send this presentation to all our attendees and our panelists as well. So as you know, graphene coating is one of our unique technology. And if you want to know more about it, we can send to you our 2 reports for this graphene coating and also our certification as well. So now, I will introduce to you Mr. Alexi, who is the Business Development Senior Manager in Evanston. So most of his career in energy projects in the past, he managed and coordinated a lot of projects of equipment in Ukraine, nuclear power plants and other fields. So you can see that he's engaging with interest in solar energy projects. And as you know, Evanston is one of the key actors in Ukraine now regarding solar plants, utility scale and other projects. So you can start, Mr. Alex.
Hi, Miriam. Thank you for introduction. Let me introduce myself. First of all, it was a pleasure to introduce by you, and I really appreciated to take a part in this webinar from our partners in Shine, and thank you for invitation and the possibility to share with information about the EPC market of Ukraine. I will share with you our presentation, tell you about little about our company and the current situation in Ukraine, which deal with COVID and total stagnation of our PV market. So first of all, let me share with you my screen. Yes. So first of all, a few words about our company. For our guests, we are EPC contractor of Ukraine. We are in the top of 10 in Ukraine. Always, every year we take the first position in EPC contract of Ukraine, and we provide them different services. For example, consultant, developing, engineering, procurement, construction service. Yeah. Next, I will tell you about the services which we provided during the COVID, because not all the scope we can provide. So We also have a great experience in PV construction of solar power station. In amount, we construct about 100 megawatts of solar station, and we have 12 years of actual solar experience, and always work with tier 1 manufacturers of solar panels, and we have great team, and this great team can provide you the best solutions in PV market. We have a lot of projects during these years for 2018, 2019, all around the territory of Ukraine. You can see that Ukraine has good insulation, especially in the south part of our country. So we spread our projects spread through all territory of Ukraine. What about market activity and current situation in PV market? As you know, I can remind you, during 2018-2019, we have rapid growth of solar market. We ended 2019 year with a 4.5 gigawatts of constructed power station. Totally, it's 5% of energy consumption of our country. But because of some reason, during the 2020 year, in the start of this year, we had some decreasing situation and some shortcut of interest to PV market. Just say a few words about this. It's not only because of COVID, because COVID came to Ukraine only in April or even March, but it's also according to changes in legislation and unstable political situation in Ukraine. So generally speaking, our PV market is in standby position, and investor waiting for changes, and quarantine and isolation measurements is just like some accelerator or booster of this shortcut for Ukraine. First, that we need to mention that our network electrical grid is overload because of a lot of constructed solar power stations, and that's why our power grid hasn't enough maneuver capacity to stabilization of this level of energy consumption. That's why we have a situation that nowadays some power stations are switched off of the grid, and we also have some station of unpayable for the bills for feed-in tariff. So what about COVID-19? It's, as I've already mentioned, it's like accelerator of the situation, and this threat is continue our standby position. Also, we had changes in our legislation that in 2020 we need to get in auctions. It's a type of tenders. When you want to construct a station more than 1 megawatt, you should be a part of a tender and win this possibility to construct the station. So these changes in legislation makes some different structure for solar projects. I mean, nowadays we have changes in the structure of our projects. I will tell you more about that. From COVID, we also have remotely to work. We have empty office. Now I'm office, but I'm only one person office. So we continue to work remotely. We use also these apps like Zoom. We also use apps like Skype to remotely work, and work doesn't stop for us. Moreover, work efficiency of our company does not decrease. So If you're talking about the impact of the commit on solar Ukrainian market, I should say that government has implemented insulation measurements and quarantine in Ukraine to prevent spreading of this COVID. And we have this station stability, and generally our government hold the situation under control. Such condition forces investors to wait and delay the decision and to invest in new solar projects. For example, for new projects, we always make business planning stage. We also make design documentation, but in mostly case, investor asks to delay the stage of implementation to the end of quarantine. For new project, meanwhile, projects that we already started, we continue the construction, and of course we implement additional safety measurements to protect our employees, but these projects are in work, and we hope to finish it till the summer period. As for material logistics is also an important question, because you as our suppliers, also very interesting question. In the start of the lockdown, we had some problems with the supplies from China. It was because of isolation measurements, but now we see that we haven't any problems with the logistical material to the site. On the contrary, it's as usual, as rule, you should just to plan your shipment to the site to avoid rush and get in situation of queue deliverance. As for our installer company, as for office, we also work remotely, and but work, as I mentioned, doesn't stop. About what we can tell about our focus today in this situation of changes in legislation and threats from COVID-19. We see that market changes. It's always changes. It's not stopped. It's changes, and we see that different kind of projects came to our request for design and business planning. For example, we also provide EPC of own consumption and commercial PV stations. It's new projects for Ukraine because earlier we can talk only about feed-in tariff projects because it was bankable and they had good payback period. Nowadays we see that we see increasing of interest to the project for own consumption, and they became bankable. First of all, it deals with decreasing price for solar panels and inverters and another equipment, and from the other hand, it deals with increasing price for electricity for commercial buildings. That's why we see interest to own consumption, and we see that a few projects we already checked and we already quote. We see that they're really bankable, and I hope in future this project will be these projects will be more. For example, for the structure of modern PV market, first type of projects we will have pre-PPA, which was in 2018, and plus feed-in tariff. These projects there is in Ukraine these projects, and they will still, but part of them will be lower than will be less than in 19 or 18 year. And the second part, it will be small projects until 1 megawatt with feed-in tariff, and these projects deals with that we have limitation from our legislation to construct under 1 megawatt station and do not go to action or some tenders. this means these projects some kind of disturbed generation electricity, and these small projects will be around the territory of Ukraine, and it's a natural development of PV market of Ukraine. These small projects will be near to the consumer, and these projects will be good for network grid. So with this, it is also a great development of these small projects near about 1 megawatt capacity. Actions. The third part of projects in Ukraine will be projects which will be on actions. These actions will be provided, will be win by a company which will give the most efficient proposal. But we know also that during the market of Ukraine there is a quote. It's not in law register, but just only as 200 megawatts per year. Also, there will be a small and households PV market. As usual, we think it will be in future developed. New projects which we permit for us is projects for own consumption. It's not only roof PV projects, but also a ground PV project. We also have the case when one metallurgical company need to construct a power station for their own needs, and they need about 5 megawatts of capacity. And I know that they constructed this power station, and we see that such projects of different types of commercial buildings, of commercial manufacturers' lands, is also has bankable index. So, in the end of my speech, I'd like to say we can't say about the stopping or some crisis or some stagnation of PV market in Ukraine. It's just it's transforming, and it is usual situation for every business. Changes in the environment and changes in business conditions. So the main thing, how we react to these conditions and these changes, and in my opinion, it's extremely important to maintain a sober look at all changes and calmly follow the set goals and our strategy. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alex, and we see that it's really impressive, and we hope that you will maintain your good strategy, and also we appreciate your good marketing that you did in LinkedIn and in all social media. So we hope that we can collaborate together for a long-term partnership, and we hope that everything will be okay in Ukraine regarding this situation with the COVID-19. So actually, I will introduce our next speaker and next panelist, which is Mr. Can Keres. He's the Development Manager of European Power Energy, and he's the Deputy General Manager of European Netherlands. So he's responsible for the business development activities throughout the region. So at Zero Power and is part of Graphene Group, they have built over 750 megawatt turnkey PV power plant projects in the region. And they are present in Europe, Eastern Europe, Turkey, and other countries as well. So maybe Mr. Khan can introduce to us more European energy and their EPCs project as well. Thank you, Mr. Khan.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Hello, everyone. This is Can Keres from Europower Energy and Europower Solar. And thank you for the introduction, Miriam. And I would like to, today I will tell you things a bit about from the perspective of the EPC contractor. So let me share you my screen with the presentation. And just one second, please.
No problem.
Yeah. So you can see now, I guess. So I would like to first present ourselves to introduce ourselves for the friends here who are not familiar with our group. I know that there are some people who already know us. So we are a group of companies. We are here focusing on solar, but we are a company that is active in all areas of electricity and energy. Actually, we are one of the leading groups in electricity and energy in the region. And we are, you know, we are one of our parent company, Girişim Elektrik, is one of the Fortune 500 companies in Turkey. That's the 425th largest corporation in Turkey. And we are based in Ankara. Our central offices and headquarters is located in Ankara, but we have offices in all around the region and all around Europe, Middle East, and North Africa. So as you see, we have two offices in Eastern Europe. One of them is in Ukraine, and one of them is in Macedonia. And we have our Western European office in Netherlands, our North African offices in Morocco, in Casablanca, and in Algeria. And we also have an office in Iraq for our Middle Eastern activities. So these are from our central campus headquarters in Ankara. And we have over 120 engineers, and in total, we have over 1,250 employees working in our company. So what we are doing, we are offering engineering services. We are doing turnkey contracting. We are also a sales and marketing group, one of the leading groups in the region, and a manufacturer for many of the components in a system, mostly on the AC side, like the medium voltage switchgear, low voltage switchgear, kiosk substations, and also mounting systems, etc. So we can see this situation, we can see the current status from many perspectives, as an EPC contractor, as a manufacturer, as a sales and marketing company. So this helps us understand some things better in what's happening actually, not also experience some of the effects, maybe more than some other parties. So as you see, we are pretty well integrated. We are not only building solar power plants, but we are also building substations, wind power plants, and then we come to solar power plants. So in the region, in Turkey, we have been very active in the past 5 years in solar PV industry, and then we expanded our activities into Europe, Middle East, and North Africa. And right now, in the point we came, we have over 750 megawatts of turnkey projects completed, and over 2.2 gigawatts of subcontracting and supply references. So these are, some of them are in Turkey, some of them are in Europe, some of them in other regions, but I will focus on Ukraine now. These are some visuals from the projects that we have. And these are, okay. So in Ukraine, we have entered the Ukraine market last year. And since then, we have completed over 60 megawatts of projects there. And right now we have 140 megawatts more under our construction. And we have many people, we have many employees, many teams active on site as we speak right now. So we have, in Ukraine, because of the, because of the laws, because of the deadlines, we have learned to, let's say, operate very efficiently, because that's a special market in that terms. Because just to give you the idea, this year, actually at the end of last year, we have completed 32 megawatts in 47 days there in winter conditions because of the deadlines. Because our customers are international investors, and there are the deadlines and there are the changes, etc. So as an EPC company, we just have to deliver what we have promised to the stakeholders. So we have let's say, developed a working structure that is very efficient. But of course, this coronavirus and the effects of it, the COVID-19, has some impacts on that efficient and effective working structure we have there. And let me just briefly go through the effects of the coronavirus on our EPC activities. I will, take things into consideration in two aspects, from the office side, from the site side. So firstly, of course, there is the social distancing requirement. So what we are doing against this, it is very obvious. We are using our personal protective equipment, and we are, let's say, we are practicing social distancing from day one, even before the government and before the governments, let's say, our own country, other governments, even before they wanted people to take precautions. We have been monitoring the situation globally, and we have taken our own precautions, and we have started a rotation working system in our office. So everyone who are not really essential to be at the office has sent home, especially everyone over 55 years of age. They have been sent home. They have been working from home, and also all the design engineers and basically technical stuff, and also some of the commercial stuff that can work remotely, have been sent even before these precautions were taken by the government obligations. So on sites, we have, there are the same risks at the sites, but also the constructions are, continuing. So what we have done from again, even before there was this, let's say, global panic about this, we have started practicing, let's say, partial quarantines and limited in and out, activity in our sites. So there was a limited outworld exposure for the teams on our site, and of course they used the personal protective equipment and everything, and so that's why, thankfully, we haven't come across any problems in any of our sites until today, and I hope we never see it. And we have developed, let's say, logistics system and support system for our sites that involves maximum security and health, let's say, precautions for our employees. So with these precautions and everything, our constructions are continuing, and for now, with our investors and with the stakeholders, everyone is pretty happy with the results. So the third one, obviously, are the travel restrictions. So, I mean, we cannot do anything about this, actually. So it's there. So we have to abide by it. So right now, what we can do is we are using the local assets as efficient as we can, and because since we cannot send and receive people from there, so we are working with what we have, and thankfully we have good human sources in all of the countries that we are active in, especially in Ukraine. We have some great teams, Ukrainian people and our people. They are working together, and they are both, thankfully, hardworking people. So we are very happy with that. So, and also there are the delays in supply chain and services. So here, like Znshine, so we are thanks also to them, and also all our suppliers and let's say solution partners. Again, from the day one, we have been in close contact with them, and also we are in close contact and cooperation with the investors, with the financiers, with the with all stakeholders. We have been in contact, and we have been, let's say, proceeding together with them. So we are doing this to minimize the effects of delays and possible future delays in the life cycle of the project. And so far, of course, there are some time extensions, there are some delays, etc. But they are not. As long as you cooperate, and as long as you coordinate things with all stakeholders, with transparency and efficiency, things just move on, because thankfully all international companies are in the industry are on the same page, and everyone wants to move things forward. I mean, we were even on a personal level, we were even receiving some messages from Italy in the worst days of the outbreak there, that they are still on, they are still active, they are ready to provide what we ask for. So while we are globally overcoming this situation, of course, we will do everything to prevent things on the health level. We will give utmost care about that, but also we should all do our best to keep things moving forward, keep the wheel turning. And of course, there are the human resource bottlenecks, in some, not only on the EPC side, but also in the governmental sides, public sides. There are some, shorter working hours, some people not working, some layoffs, etc. But like I told in the previous articles, we are doing our best, and also encouraging our let's say solution partners as much as we can to utilize the human resources they have as efficient as they can. So after briefly going through all this, let's say, immediate effects of the pandemic on the EPC business, I also want to talk about, I would like to give some market outlook, like what I think that this coronavirus, what kind of effects will it have on PV business? So obviously, I will just briefly go through this one. Supply chain problems and delays. This happens inevitably, but this will be better. This is already getting better. So China is when I talk about the supply chains, China is in pretty good. It looks pretty good from here. They are supplying, things are in time for now, and also in Europe things are getting better. So this will be better as soon as the outbreak is more under control. Also, this is the same with the human resource problems. Of course, there are some in some companies, in some markets, in some places, there are some unexpected and unwanted layoffs and some problems with human resources, some unemployment, etc. But this also will be overcome as the crisis fades away, hopefully. And of course, here the important part is the support of the governments and also the employers. We should think long term. We should not take some decisions to. Of course, saving the day is sometimes important, but also in the long term, at the end of the day, everything is for us, for humans. So we have to be aware of that. So thirdly, there is the slower capacity increase during the outbreak. This is also obvious. This happens. Some PPA tenders are being postponed. Some investors are hesitant to move forward, and everyone feels like, there is a saying in Turkish. I don't know if there is an equivalent of this in other languages. It's like throwing a stone in the dark for some investors. So right now it's totally natural and normal to have this kind of effect, but this will also, every country, every investor, everyone has the targets for the renewable energy. And during these times, we understand the importance of being in harmony with the nature and the sustainability of things better. So right now, there are the targets, there are the capacities that are planned for renewable energy. So this may even lead to an increased growth afterwards, after we hopefully take this outbreak under control. And, again, like this, there is a foreseen economic stagnation or recession even in some markets, in some areas. Energy is a strategic business industry, and also renewable energy is like that. But still, we believe that this will, with the to stimulate the economies, to achieve the goals, achieve the targets. We believe that this may even, I mean, we prefer to have an optimistic outlook on this, to be honest. And we believe that this, all the incentives, all the global effort to get this better after this unfortunate times, we believe that this will also help get past through this in the long term. Of course, there may be some effects in the short term, but yeah, hopefully we will get past through this. And finally, this thing, obviously, on everyone, this thing has an effect that this increases everyone's vigilance about this global matters, sustainability matters, environmental matters. So in these times, we understand that we are just one with the nature. So we have to, focus more on renewable energy, green energy, sustainability, and also especially we believe that on the government and financial level, especially with the gas prices going down, and this may disrupt their subsidies, etc. This can also maybe increase the importance of the renewable energy in the planned investments, etc. So after summarizing these, we believe that, of course, there will be some negative effects, especially immediate effects, but with, let's say, with a collective communication and with the global effort, we believe that from this crisis, there can be a really optimistic and bright outcome if we think in the right way and if we act as it requires. So this was, let's say, our brief thoughts and ideas and perspectives about the subject. And thank you very much to everyone for listening. And thank you, Miriam and Znshine, for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Mr. Khan.
You're welcome.
Interesting. So if anyone has any question, he can ask. So even in Ukrainian or in English. Do I have questions? Okay, great. So next presentation, Mrs. Natalia. So if you can, yeah. Mrs. Natalia Cherneyeva. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. She's the executive director of Unisolar System from 2012. I think that Unisolar is a leader in project deliveries in Ukraine. Their company employs worldwide experience in a large-scale solar project in combination with a unique practical solution in Eastern Europe as well. So they are present in the market since more than 10 years. So Mrs. Natalia, you can start.
Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot, Miriam. Thanks a lot, our reliable, trustful partner, Znshine, for inviting me for this webinar. Thanks a lot for everyone, every participant for joining. Thanks a lot for every panelist for such a good previous presentation. I am executive director of Unisolar, and I have been working for Unisolar for 8 years. And we have passed through different times, so I would like to share with you our experience passing these times. So let me open my presentation for you.
Okay.
So mid of March, and we all worldwide faced with the threat of humanity health by coronavirus, fake news caused panic, quarantine caused panic, and we also faced almost stop of the business. You know that, yeah, COVID-19, it's breaking news. It's uncertainty for everyone. And Of course, what is certain, it's economical crisis together with, in line with energy system crisis in Ukraine. But International Monetary Fund is making not really good prognosis for impact of COVID on Ukraine economic, and as we see on this GDP chart, and but pandemic and crisis will and we will see new businesses and new horizons, new opportunities. We don't regret that the old economy bypassing the period of panic and turning into crisis and panic and turning into new economy where people buy only the goods they need, mainly with home delivery. The economy is definitely becoming less toxic, and this is one of the positive results of quarantine. The world will never be the same after the crisis, after the quarantine will end, and we don't need to sit and wait for the end of this crisis, and we have to benefit from it. We have to take all our opportunities which are given to us right now. So it is the current time with business shortage, supply chain challenges that we will overcome soon together with our reliable partners. And it is the clean renewable energy time. Austria last coal power plant shuts down. The commissioning coal is opportunity for energy storage. Renewable energy becoming cheaper and more affordable. That opens door to many enterprises, to many householders for self-consumption. Smart PV asset management is taking over. It's also time to look at your PV owner and understand your relationship with your PV owner, to strengthen the partnership with your partners like suppliers, with your logistics partners, with your with all of your partners, because together we can overcome, together we can benefit from such time. Now is the time for solar industry to capitalize on solar digitalization. At the current, you'll understand we can work remotely because restrictions of the traffic, of the of all of what was available before is not available now, and we had to overcome it, to be flexible, to use what we can use now. So we can be effective, so can do the solar owners, and so can be the PV plants. Many solar portfolios are still installed with really old operation and maintenance platforms, which offer relatively limited functionality. As its owners who integrate software solutions capable of combining enterprise resources planning and asset management software on the other hand, and can merge multiple functionalities into one platform. In this way, businesses can reduce complexity across monitoring, financial, and operational data sets. So, as for our company, Unisolar, as Miriam told, we are 10 years on the market. We are have supplied and serviced over 200 megawatts of the projects. We have made the site inspections, and we are available currently 20 hours per day, 7 weeks, and it's our time. It's to support our customers. It's our time to overcome it and came from the crisis with benefits and to support our customers to overcome this crisis to with us, because it's, you know, it's our material goal, and we have also our strategic goals, and we have to get to them. We digitalize what we do with advanced monitoring systems, with drone control, with side drone control. We can make we can routine physics checks that can influence on the performance improvement and on the cost reduction of operation and maintenance. We can reduce the time of physical checks. We can react faster for any issue at the PV site. We can, using the advanced monitoring, we can each day online, we can see the data, we can collect it, we can analyze it, we can see the most soiled areas on the PV plant, and we can also schedule the cleaning of the PV plant. Thus, we can improve the performance and we can save from the cleaning costs. We can also plan the cost reduction because we can predict, we can schedule how many spare parts or modules we will need, and we can improve the supply chain, because in Ukraine also it's a very big challenge, and it's because of the production is imported, we have to wait a lot, or if customers don't have such own stock, it's really a lot of time and a lot of efforts and a lot of costs. So we can using this using digitalization, using advanced monitoring, using the analyzing of the data, using drones to faster to have some analysis report faster. We can reduce all the costs, we can improve performance of the PV plant, and we can help our customers, owners to be more effective, to have more returns on investment, to have it faster, to improve the performance, to have more revenue, to be and in final to be satisfied with his PV plant. Companies can benefit from the digitalizing. They will be able to benefit from the optimized productivity, time savings, cost savings, labor cost savings, and will minimize all the challenges with the supply chain, with time reaction for any issues. So for us, this is the time to do more for our customers, to provide them also more opportunities, to be more flexible, to to benefit from the situation, because of course, as my colleagues told, that they are working with the projects and finishing some that have been started last year. We are also in this stage. We're also finishing our projects, commissioning them, and we also in line spreading on the market. If we speak about the distribution, because together with Znshine we are working on commercial projects, and we are working on distribution. So we are opening new warehouse over Ukraine to be flexible, to be closer to our customers, to support, to save their time on any issue, to save their cost on any issue, because in final, what is the main goal of any investor, any PV plant owner, to have stable return on investment and to improve, to optimize the time for return of investment. So this is our main target for today, and it was our main target. So together with this is the time also to see how our partners can also support and how together we can overcome this crisis. So as I can assume, for Znshine, it is reliable and trustful partners, and I'm sure we can together overcome it, and we can together support our customers here in Ukraine. And thanks a lot for inviting me for this webinar, and thanks a lot to Znshine for supporting. So if you have any questions regarding the presentation or regarding the digitalization process in our company, you can write me on our email, on my email, on call, or just ask the questions on the chat, and I will reply you. So I wish you all normal temperature, to be safe from the fake news and coronavirus, and to have hope, and to be in a good mood, because it's like the basis to overcome all these crises, economical and energetic. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you very much, Natalia, and it was really interesting. So I think that there is some questions from Mr. Bogdan, right? Yeah, it's from Mr. Bogdan. So he asked you a few questions. The first one is, he told you, could you please share information for demand trends for solar energy in Ukraine?
Yeah.
And you can answer him in the conversation,
yeah.
okay? Okay.
So
if you can, or you can write.
I think I will write, so we can pass over to the next panelist. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now the next speaker, so is Mrs. Mrs. Tatiana Kovalenko. She's the Deputy Manager of Indian Solar. So Indian Solar was established in April 2017 by holding company Ukrainian Energy Coal Ltd. They do project development, construction, and they manage like renewable energy projects in Ukraine. The pipeline of the project by Indian Solar at different stage of its development and execution in the following solar project, like RTB PV ground around 160 megawatt, and the PV rooftop is around 20 megawatt. And they deal also in the biomass and wind project as well. So Mrs. Tatiana, you can give us more details regarding your company and the impact of COVID-19 in your strategy and in your ongoing
hello,
projects.
Dear colleagues and partners. First of all, I would like to thank Znshine Solar for organization of this webinar and for inviting us to participate in it. We are happy to take part in this discussion of the crucial issues for the current situation of RES market in Ukraine. And we are sure that this event helps us to understand the situation better and probably to find some solutions. First of all, it will be my honor to make a brief presentation of our company. Just a minute, please. Indian Solar. As it was already mentioned, that our company was established not so long ago in April 2017 by our holding company, Ukrainian Energy Coal, for the development, project management, investment attraction and construction of the renewable energy projects in Ukraine. And the holding company, our holding company, more than 15 years was a leading coal trading company. And following the world trends, it was made a decision to shift the business activity into the renewable energy. And so from the very beginning, our company became an active player at the Ukrainian market of the Ukrainian green market. And as for today, our company has a significant pipeline of renewable energy projects. As was mentioned, it is biomass, more than 100 of megawatts heating plus electricity, solar projects, PV, and rooftop PV projects. We have developed projects with PPA signed, and also certain volume we are preparing for participation in green auctions. And PV rooftop projects, it's about 20 megawatts. Wind projects we are developing with our Spanish partner and prepare them to participate in green auctions. And biomass projects are also in the development stage, and it is more than 100, as I said. All our projects are carefully selected, regulated, and analyzed. Our aim is to prepare the best solution, the best project for our investor, and we always make a complete deep analysis of a project to multiply its advantages and to minimize any risk for that investor could meet. And this is the map of Ukraine, and yellow colored the regions where our projects are located. And here the diagram of the installed capacity of RES under feed-in tariff in Ukraine. It is according to the data of Ministry of Energy and Environment of Ukraine. And the slide shows that the development of RES sector in Ukraine was significant during last several years. And as for the end of February of the current year, we have already 6,769 megawatt of the installed projects, and the figures don't include the capacities at the occupied territories and private household project. In 2019, there was a significant increase of the development of the installed capacity of renewable energy facilities, and it was the increase for 4,349 megawatt of total RES capacity, and the solar projects are 3,626 megawatts. And according to the data of the State Energy Efficiency and Energy Saving of Ukraine, 3.8 billion euro was invested into Ukrainian RES projects the previous year. The sector demonstrated rapid significant development and it was highly attractive for the investors, as foreign as local. And in January, February 2020, solar, wind, and biomass power plants in Ukraine increased electricity production in 2.68 times compared to the period of the last year. And what does happen to the market? Why the investor decided to postpone the projects, and they are not in a hurry to go further with the projects? In July 2019, the new EU electricity market model was adopted by the government, and it faced certain problems. And already in August 2019, the first debts of the guaranteed buy to RES producers appeared. And in the second half of the year, the government began to talk about the possibility of the retroactive changes to the current legislation. And the investment climate turned worse with the immediate effect. We should say that the rule of law should be based on uncompromising principles. Feed-in tariff can be retroacted only on a voluntary basis. No retroactive changes, no fines, no sanctions. And another risk that investor could face the potential deficit with the guaranteed buyer to reproduces is foreseen at the level of 19 billion hryvnia in 2020. And the data as of April, the 10th of April of the current year, the average debt of the guaranteed buyer to renewable energy producers is 4.7 billion hryvnias. Also, it should be mentioned that the first green auctions failed to be held in this spring, and risk quotas haven't been determined by the government. The matter is the guaranteed buyer signed more than 600 PPAs previous year for the project that should be realized during the following 3 years. And only after decision on these signed PPAs, on the cutoff date for them, quotas can be determined by the government and the auctions can be launched. We consider that the following steps can return the positive mood of US investment to the Ukraine. Our state has to guarantee to the investors the return of their investment. It's very important. And the rules of the renewable energy sector should be based on a fair and stable regulatory framework. The state have to guarantee the bankability of the guaranteed buyer and to assure the long-term renewable energy public services obligation sustainability in order to stabilize the payments to RES producers by the guaranteed buyer. And another one moment is very important, and it faces more often nowadays, that curtailment compensation for renewable energy sector at feed-in tariff is to be ensured also by the state. The mechanism of compensation for the cost of non-released electricity to renewable energy producers should be developed. And also another factor is responsibility for imbalances. We think that transparent and competitive balance in market and market for additional services is to be launched. And the above mentioned issues could be the part of stabilizing package for the Ukrainian renewable energy sector. We believe that our mutual efforts and actions for and further dialogue with our government allow all of us to change the situation into favorable for the US investments and to achieve the ambitious goals of the government according to the concept of green energy transition of Ukraine till 2015 to increase green production up to 70% of the total balance in Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, thank you very much, Mrs. Tatiana, and it was really interesting. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so now the next speaker is Mr. Maxim. So let me introduce to you Mr. Maxim. Mr. Maxim has more than 12 years experience in working in the international and domestic law firm in Ukraine. So he works for Dantons, and he will present to us more regulation and project details and future opportunity in Ukraine. So Mr. Maxim, you can start.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Miriam, for this introduction and invitation to participate in this webinar. In fact, I heard that a number of speakers already touched upon some aspects of the regulatory framework in Ukraine. So I would probably elaborate on some of the issues and discuss some additional options. Like I assume that you can see my presentation, yes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I would like to point out that as of today, we have still discussions over feed-in tariff restructuring in Ukraine. So it's the key regulatory change, which you know, the entire market is expecting now. In the discussion started last year. I think they started even during fall. Then they lasted until December 2019, but unfortunately, the compromise between the industry and government was not reached at that moment, and the discussion stopped. At the same time, in December, mediation under the auspices of Secretariat of European Energy Community was launched by two associations you can see on the slide. And it was quite fruitful. I was engaged in these discussions. Of course, it was expected that there would be some reduction of feed-in tariff. At the same time, there was some kind of bargaining. Okay, maybe a reduction, changes of terms, but at the same time, the government came up with quite interesting suggestions how to secure the payments and sustainability of the sector, and we also came up. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic situation, all these discussions were suspended, uh, probably in the end of February. Only in the beginning of April, the Prime Minister of Ukraine met with key investors and the discussions resumed. And we are talking not only about investors in the solar sector, but also wind energy. And on April 7, 8, the proposals from the associations and basically from most of key players in the market were submitted to the mediator and to the government within the scope of the mediation proceedings. Unfortunately, we have not heard back from them any feedback, official or unofficial. I don't have it. At the same time, not only within mediation, the process continues, but also directly investors and other associations, they discuss with the government potential changes. Some investors and associations are heard more by the government and meet more frequently, some less. A bit some havoc now in the cabinet of ministers on these discussions. These meetings are not systemized, etc. Okay, we can understand the COVID-19 situation, and all forces are used to tackle that problem. Maybe that's why it's not really good organized. And then we didn't have the Minister of Energy. So hopefully with the new Minister of Energy, we will be able to speed up this process and give some certainty to the market. Meanwhile, like it's a joke, Ukrainians who join this webinar understand we are getting more and more experts. Yeah. Not only in coronavirus, but also in renewables in the market. And the last expert, it turned out the head of Secret Service of Ukraine, came up with suggestions to the parliament, explaining how the market should operate and what changes should be introduced. Like I can imagine if FBI in the US made such suggestions, probably it would be it would have the same impact. But anyway. So what we can expect with this feed restructuring, like on this slide, you can see the tariffs for ground-mounted SPPs, euro cents per kilowatt hour. current rate and what is suggested under restructured. As you can see, potential decrease, and I used different figures from different draft law suggestions, proposals from the ministry. They can vary, but I think we can expect something within this range for the purpose of FIT for pre-PPA projects. Probably already was mentioned that we have quite a lot of pre-PPA projects in Ukraine for solar and wind, and it's those projects which were developed and signed PPA with the guaranteed buyer by the end of 2019. The biggest problem with this restructuring is not only the cut-off tariff for future projects, but also cut-off dates which we are suggested. And basically, as you see on the slides, the dates were like end of June, end of September. Yeah, we understand that for larger projects, like if these dates will stay, basically no projects like major projects will be able to be implemented by that time, because we already discussed, even though the industry is recovering, it takes some time to organize supplies, logistics can be delayed, construction, etc. The term of FIT is also kind of discussed, and it's kind of bargaining situation that one of the suggestions that FIT would be extended beyond 2029. The question, 5 years, 2 years, it's still a question, or it would be 15 years after COD. Not yet determined. There were different proposals, but it's kind of trading the reduction with the extension of FIT at the same time. What else should be taken into account is liability for imbalances. We have now increase of this liability for imbalances by 10% each year until 2030 under the current legislation. So this year it's still zero. Starting with the next year, it will be increased 10%, 20% until 100% of all imbalances costs shall be borne by the solar power plants. With the restructured proposals, we have a bit different situation, and imbalance liabilities will be introduced faster. We see that there were proposals increased by 20% each year, by 30%, 50%. Some suggestions like introduce it right now. And to the best of my understanding of the situation with curtailments, which I will discuss a bit later, most likely we'll end up with the full liability for imbalances even this year. But let's see what would the government and suggest and the parliament adopts. Tolerance margin. Currently, we have hourly tolerance margin like 10%, and it will be reduced to 5%, subject to increase of share of renewables in the energy mix. Similar suggestions were in the proposals, like 10%, 5%, but there were also suggestions that it could be even zero if renewables reach 10% in the energy mix. One of the most acute issues which popped up like in April is the curtailment compensation. Like last year and within this fall, there were some curtailments, but they were not so significant and so like covering almost entire industry. In April, they became more frequent, so now it's really an issue. The current legislation suggests full compensation of curtailed electricity under feed-in tariff. What is suggested now by the ministry, it's basically some cap for electricity which would not be compensated, and it's up to 200 hours. For those solar power plants which have been already commissioned, we have now the legislation established feed-in tariff 15 euro cents for those projects which were commissioned 2017-19, and the suggestion is from the government to reduce it. And you see some of the figures which were discussed. The range 12.77 to 11.27, it was the last proposal from the ministry, and it depends, the rate depends on the power capacity of the power plant. The term of it, basically similar terms, but there were also suggestions to extend it until 32, one of the options which was discussed, so basically for 2 years only. Regarding other conditions, they are to some extent similar to those which I discussed for new solar power plants and for new projects in 2020. Curtailments. So we already raised those issues, and it's increasing problem in Ukraine due to quarantine measures and like situation in Ukraine. The consumption dropped by 10% according to the Ministry of Energy for the period of quarantine, and for the entire year it can drop down like 7%, but it depends, of course, on the duration of the quarantine in Ukraine. Yes, as I mentioned, we have more frequent and long-term curtailments in April. We also saw the reaction of the Ukrenergo and some players in the market, which basically refused or for some reasons didn't fulfill dispatching commands of the operator, of the transmission system operator, and there was a request from Ukrenergo to regulator even to revoke licenses for those producers which didn't fulfill commands from the TSO. Like, yeah, most of experts understand that it was a bit exaggerated request. Such requests are groundless. The regulator can run an inspection and maybe impose fine, and only in case of systematic violations, if they are not cured, they can revoke the license, suspend and revoke. So just some case which like unlikely occur. In order to tackle the situation, the working group was established with Ukrenergo, and which shall develop the compensation mechanism, and it was elaborated to some extent, submitted to the regulator. It was last week, but there is still not unified position between the TSO and the industry on some points. And the main mechanism which was suggested, that the guaranteed buyer shall buy electricity, compensate curtailed electricity. They so far disagree to do this. So let's see what would be the decision of the regulator. And as I mentioned, producers from renewables, they shall fulfill all commands from the operator, and it's highly recommended to do this and record these commands in order to contest later or earn compensation. At the same time, we have some payment crisis in the market. You see, like I have information on this slide, how much capacity we have now, and solar in particular, pre-PPAs. We have 6.3 billion debt of the guaranteed buyer to RES producers, according to the last statements from the Ministry of Energy again. There are other defaults in the market which worsens the situation. The ministry and the parliament, they are trying to address the issues. There was suggestions, some suggestions were put in draft law number 3446, which was supposed to be voted today. As I understand, it will not be voted because it should be further elaborated, and there were some sources of income to cover this deficit, like transfer all cash from Ukrenergo to guaranteed buyer, which they have now, and use incomes from capacity payments for interstate interconnectors to cover this deficit, but it was not finally read. Also, the regulator took some actions and introduced some measures in the electricity market, as you can see. increase caps of sale of electricity from renewable, guaranteed buy and banned import of electricity from Russia and Belarus. So we don't have competitors from those countries in the market now. So future for solar sector. What I personally see, what opportunities will remain in this period of havoc, at least for the moment. First of all, rooftop solar power plants. I don't see that any draft considered that they would be affected. Projects up to 1 megawatt are not subject to auctions, so will be eligible to FIT. What FIT? Like it will depend on those restructured feed-in tariff proposals which are discussed. Of course, RES auctions, you need to keep in mind that we would have certain requirements which shall be fulfilled before the auctions can start. Like we don't have quotas. Quotas will be determined based on the law which will be implemented on the FIT restructuring. Not earlier than autumn 2020, most likely later. I can say that maybe we'll not see them this year. Please be prepared that if you go for the auctions, you would need also to build battery energy storages together with your solar power plants. Yeah, and there are issues that you need to develop your projects to some extent and provide bank guarantees. Another opportunity, if the prices will go up, so far they are going down, of course, corporate PPAs and useful needs. Quarantine measures, basically you can see here restrictions which can affect the sector. I don't think that they affect that much. Construction activities are expressly allowed, but you of course need to keep in mind that like you cannot use public transportation, etc. in Ukraine. If you violate these requirements, you can be subject to administrative and criminal liability. What other quarantine measures should be mentioned? It's prohibition on penalties for delayed utility payments, exemption from lease payments for land and municipal lands for March 2020, and extension of statutes of limitations. So, and different court terms. So all these terms were frozen. And please do not forget that quarantine still is in Ukraine and in most of the countries, and a lot of our clients, they face issues with force majeure claimed by different counterparties, market players. On this slide, I discussed briefly what you should take into account when you are dealing with claims or consider to submit a claim or requests to consider some circumstances as force majeure. So first of all, you need to understand applicable laws. And English law, which governs most of supply contracts and sometimes EPC contracts, and Ukrainian law, they treat force majeure differently. Here I will talk about some points on the Ukrainian law. So first of all, like you need to consider the contract, what the effect of force majeure for the parties. It could terminate the contract, could be extension for performance obligations, etc., etc. In Ukraine, Ukrainian quarantine measures are force majeure, but they don't relieve from liability automatically. You need to prove causation between the quarantine and you cannot perform your obligations. Since construction activities is allowed, like you cannot claim force majeure that you couldn't construct, and supplies of solar panels, inverters, and other equipment is also not limited, so also would be difficult to claim force majeure. In Ukraine, force majeure is confirmed by certificate of Chamber of Commerce. Keep this in mind and arrange its procurement if you consider to claim force majeure. So that's it, what I wanted to discuss in my part. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Maxim, regarding this good and interesting presentation. And we really look forward to hearing very good news this year and next year regarding auctions and PPAs as well. So if you have, regarding our attendees, if you have any question, you can ask Mr. Maxim directly, or you can write. Maybe we will share after our presentation by email to all our attendees. So don't hesitate to send him an email if you have any questions regarding the new regulation, PPAs, and auctions as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So next speaker is Mr. Artem. He's the CEO of the Solar Energy Association of Ukraine. So he's a leading solar industry association, representing interests of more than 30 local and global companies and PV plants. So he's also a member of Solar Power Europe, which was founding a member of global, let's say, more than 100 renewable energy Ukraine. So Mr. Artem, you can start.
Hello, colleagues. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Excellent. I'll switch to my presentation. It will be not very long, as we are a little bit out of time according to the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, do you see? Can you see my presentation?
Yes,
Yeah.
we see your presentation too. Yes, it's okay.
Okay, good. So I would like to speak about where is the growth point for Ukrainian solar market hidden. This is the very important question as for now for Ukrainian solar market. Following the previous presentations and the designated speakers, I think that the situation as for now is not quite supposing a future development. So let us discuss this topic more properly. This is the data that present the installed solar PV capacity in Ukraine. And as for today, it is around 5,700 megawatts. But if Ukraine want to follow the goals determined by Paris Climate Agreement, and if Ukraine wants to make its proper contribution to the development of a clean planet, we have to install additional 63 gigawatts of PV capacity by 2040. That means that following the international obligations, Ukraine have to make the energy system available for additional 63 gigawatts only for solar PV capacity, and even more for other renewable energies. This is main obstacles that to our estimation are at the situation of fulfilling this aim. First of all, that one of the obstacle that is kind of a myth, that Ukrainian feed-in tariff is high. Actually, as for now, for commercial projects, it is only 11 euro cents, a little bit more than 11 euro cents. Here is the table for comparison to other European countries about the amount of feed-in tariffs for such projects. For instance, at this country like Hungary, for small projects, it is also around 10 euro cents. So what I would like to highlight, that actually the feed-in tariff is not high in Ukraine as for now. And it's connected with other conditions. It is really good and not very low and not very high. That means it is optimal for development of the renewables. According to this data, you can see that other countries still have, for some projects, slightly higher feed-in tariffs. I could also note that this is data according to 2019 or 2018, but the situation didn't change slightly since. As it was mentioned by previous speaker, Maxim, in Ukraine, the auctions for renewable energy had not started yet. And this means that this very attractive instrument for investors like renewable energy auctions is not available still. But we hope that this year the government will start these auctions and we will have more qualified rules for the renewable energy investors in the future. Other obstacles of the development of renewables and also for solar power is the grid that is not quite properly updated for the last 5-10 years, and it's not developed to achieve and to include this amount of capacity of renewables. And also the point of storage of renewables, development of storages is not quite a good in the legislature aspect. Actually, there is one very important draft of the law that is going to start the storage in Ukraine, but nevertheless, according to this pandemic times, we have not before it. We have not. It didn't move far in this situation. Also, what we have already noticed by previous speakers is the policy that is not stable. Unfortunately, since the September 2019, this situation with the negotiations with investors have made the market completely unpredictable for the future investments. And unfortunately, the situation is not solved as for yet. We hope that in this situation, the interests of investors will be completely fulfilled, and this will be the message to the future investors, to the future foreign investors also, to invest in our country in the sphere of renewables. Another obstacle that I want to highlight is kind of the cost of capital in Ukraine. As for now, it is quite big, and we do not see the future possibilities to the decrease of this cost of capital, unfortunately. So this cost of capital actually determines the amount of solar tariff and will determine the price for auction supporting scheme in the future. Another obstacle actually is pandemic, COVID, and the recent drop down of oil price. A lot of researchers highlight that drop down of oil price will influence the renewable energy market, not the very good way. But nevertheless, the IRENA and the Solar Power Europe international organizations highlight that actually this is the message that investors should take more attention, pay more attention to the renewables, because these investments are more stable than investments to the traditional sources of energy as oil and coal. What is growth point in energy for the renewables? The growth point actually is in energy transition. Energy transition was estimated by International Energy Agency that finished its energy outlook in 2019. This is the scenarios for different energy transition policies as it was in 2018 and according to stated policies in sustainable way. Take a look at the share of coal that is decreasing significantly to 2040. By the year 2040, it will decrease to 25% if the situation will remain as it is now, or it will decrease to 4% if every state will do all the measures that they can to promote renewables and to develop the renewable energy system. Also, the share of natural gas will decrease significantly if the states will make the mechanisms to substitute the natural gas. And it is really possible that the share will drop down as low as 12%. Also, take a look at the renewables. The share of renewables could grow slightly and will only the solar power will have around 20% of the generation electricity in the generation mix of electricity. Only it's very important to highlight that solar power is now leading source of electricity from renewables, and it will remain as a leading source of electricity. And there are a lot of benefits of solar power, and you know all of them very good. And that's why this will be the leader for the future decades in the energy development of the world. This is very interesting data that appeared in the recent research by Solar Power Europe. This is different scenarios for the development of renewables by 2050 in Europe. According to more laggard scenario, solar power will have 48% of renewables in the electricity, and according to the most optimistic leadership scenario, it will achieve 63%. So this indicates that the mainstream is the solar PV projects for the decade. So this is a good point also for investors to follow the solar market and solar market in Ukraine, because to our expectation, the electricity by solar in Europe could be the same as the same amount in Ukraine. And as for now, it is only more than 2% share of solar electricity. So you can see the potential, and why we here in the association really hope that good decisions by the government will affect this very high growth of solar PV. I would like to highlight what our association is doing for the promotion of renewables and for the promotion of solar PV in Ukraine. We have closely cooperating with Ukrenergo, Verkhovna Rada, and Ministry for promoting the development of solar industry. We, as Miriam mentioned, we are the member and contributor to Solar Power Europe, and also the founder of the Global 100% Renewables Ukraine. This is an initiative that promotes transition of Ukrainian energy system to 100% renewables. Our association now consists of more than 30 Ukrainian and foreign companies, and we support their business in Ukraine in the ways we can do. Also, as Maxim, the previous speaker, mentioned, this is a kind of a situation where Ukrainian solar PV stations are under the investigation by the Commission. So now we are helping them to fight for their rights, and that's another our aim of work. I thank you so much for the invitation to the webinar, and I hope that this fruitful work that have been done for more than 2 hours here will benefit for every participant. Thank you, Miriam, for the invitation, and have a good day for everyone. Have a good solar day for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Artem. Thank you very much. It was really very interesting. So if you have any questions, I saw the presentation regarding the project in Europe. So regarding the French market, you mentioned that you don't have information. As you know, in the French market, there is no PPA until now. So only it's like CRE tenders. So we still wait for PPAs in France. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. So I don't know if you have any questions. No questions. So thank you very much for your attention, well, and we hope that it was really very insightful and that it guides us to wider lanes in the Ukrainian market. Definitely, we'll be meeting in the near future in solar exhibition maybe in Sea Solar. I think it will be in August. We don't know if they will postpone or they will maintain the same date, or in other solar show exhibition, or maybe other webinar as well. We propose that other webinar will be in Ukrainian as well, so or subtitled in Ukrainian language. It will be more easier to understand the content of the webinar. So we hope also that we will meet in the next exhibition if once everything will be over and once this COVID issue will be over as well. So thank you very much for attending, and we hope that we can meet in the next future.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
And what I want to add that
Thank you, everyone.
at 3 o'clock we will start our webinar also at the association, so you are free to follow. And
yeah, we saw that we have a webinar with the Solar PV Europe.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
As well.
So, yeah, we will take a close look to the obstacles, and so that's why I invite you all to join.
Sure, we will join. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for all of your partners. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.